do you have like favorite or like preferred energy sources that you think that, the U.S. or Georgia or whoever should continue building out? And I guess, do you have like a preference on those being smaller, more local, and more like micro, I guess? What are your thoughts there?
So we're a big fan. Unfortunately, the whole ESG debate has become political, and it's not about virtue signaling. It's just about doing things the right way. And the E there is the environmental. So if we can incentivize renewable energy production, then everybody's better off for it. And it's not about left or right or Republican or Democrat. It's about doing the right thing because we need more abundant clean power. So I think everybody agrees on that. And it's not about, guiding investment dollars. It's just, hey, as we continue to grow as a nation, we need that stability because we have an increased reliance on energy. So we love nuclear because nuclear is a terrific, uninterruptible, and it's a non-carbon emitting load. Now the reality is there are not a lot of new nuclear power developments going on. We're starting to see more funding go towards that, but 30 years ago there were a couple of incidents that created a fear of nuclear power. So we've gone away from that. But I think we like nuclear because it's a stable generation. It's not subject to when the wind blows or when the sun is out. But it is renewable by most definitions. Now, beyond that, we really like to work with hydropower because, it is a little bit more predictable. So, we've started discussions, and, I'll be careful not to go into any non-public stuff, but, we've started discussions working with, like First Nations and indigenous tribes that have access to hydroelectric power, but don't have the ability to build and develop that because there isn't somebody willing to stand up and say, hey, I'll buy that. But if it was built, it would be used and it could contribute meaningfully to the economy. So we really see this as a terrific opportunity. Now, beyond that, we're always in kind of this grow mode. We're very selective about finding opportunities to grow the Clean Spark way, but we're investigating opportunities as we speak that have access to a large amount of wind power, a large amount of solar, and we see that congestion on the grid is a bigger issue than generation. So there are a lot of areas regionally that have overbuilt generation but lack transmission, and so they curtail their production or run it to ground rather than have that power not used. So we can incentivize more transmission and generation by buying those loads. So I think if you were to choose a hierarchy of our preferences, we're really big fans of nuclear, but then hydro, wind, and solar kind of in that area. And one quick point, coming out of the energy space, building microgrids for the Marine Corps at Camp Pendleton or U.S. embassies around the world, we had to incorporate energy storage. So in the event of a disruption, you have power that you've stored that you can use later. So there are different chemistries of batteries. The one thing that they all have in common is that there's degradation, just like your phone. Every time you charge it, the depth of the capacity of the battery goes down just a little bit. Pretty soon you're charging your phone every 4 hours instead of every 16, right? So at an industrial scale, when you start to see degradation of those batteries, you're then forced with a disposal issue, and it becomes an environmental issue. And so we see Bitcoin kind of uniquely in that we, rather than buy energy storage, we can incentivize somebody to build more capacity. We can buy that extra capacity instead of having them store it, and then kind of be that battery, and that when they need that power, we can shut down and redistribute the power elsewhere. So we see that it's a benefit environmentally from that perspective as well, in that it kind of eliminates that potential need for disposal of energy storage systems once they reach the end of their useful life.